Just entering as you come to meet the central lobby at the House of Parliament. Thank you, Hugh. Yes, John Curtis, they're talking about Labour have lost and how badly. How can we measure how badly Labour have lost? Obviously, lots of reasons for them to be pleased. They've done much better than they expected. We're going to try and set the loss in context for you now. So this is where we think it'll end up at the end of all this, with a seat still in play, 261 to Labour, 2017 election. OK, they lost. They did better than people expected. How does it compare to previous Labour losses? So Labour 261. So they're way better than Ed Miliband, who lost 2 years ago in 2015, who had a horrible time of it. They're sort of in the zone that Gordon Brown was in 2010, if you're looking at seat numbers, 258. He's a bit ahead of Gordon Brown. Neil Kinnock, 271. In 1992, that was the John Major election where huge turnout for the Conservatives won it, and Neil Kinnock had to resign, although he did better than in seats than Mr Corbyn did today. Neil Kinnock, 229 in 1987, was allowed to fight again. Wouldn't happen these days, losing to Mrs Thatcher for her third landslide, or second landslide. And this is the one that was defining of bad political campaigns and just the disaster for Labour. 1983, a Thatcher landslide after the Falklands War, and that leader, of course, is Michael Foot, who only got 209 seats. And it's worth saying at this point that, of course, during the campaign, people were saying, before the campaign started, is Mr Corbyn going to get what Mr Foot got, or is he going to go even lower? So where he has succeeded, and he's completely changed the terms of reference, Jeremy Corbyn. Yes, he's a long way ahead of Michael Foot in 1983. Have a look at Jim Callaghan here, Sunny Jim, as he was called, 1979. He lost to Mrs Thatcher when she won her first election, 269, so that's very much in the same zone. Let's keep going. We love our history here. 1970, Harold Wilson lost to Heath, 288. So you've got a spectrum of Labour leaders, and you can see that in terms of how well or badly Jeremy Corbyn did, he's very much part of a piece if you measure it in seats. But I want to just do a different measurement for you now. And this is very, very interesting. Let's just change it. Let's start back at this end and let's look at percentages instead. So if we go back to the Wilson era, 70s and previously, you saw, for example, in the 50s, that the combination of the Labour and Conservative vote would sometimes be above 90, even 95%. So here we've got a bit of the legacy of that, 43%. You lost the election with 43%. So that didn't happen for many years thereafter. Afterwards, losing Labour leaders got here in 79, Callaghan, 37%. Foot was very low, 28%, historically low in 83. And then we move on. Kinnock, 31 and 34. Of course, this is the effect of a whole multiplicity of different parties, particularly the Liberals, as they then were. 2010, Gordon Brown, 29% in 2010. Absolutely horrible percentage-wise. Up a bit for Ed Miliband in 2015. But have a look at this. Isn't that amazing? 40% of the vote, 4 out of 10 voters in this election went for Corbyn across the UK. And if you're a Jeremy Corbyn fan, that's the figure you point to, because you say, isn't that extraordinary? Of course, it's partly because UKIP have almost left the pitch and the Liberal Democrats are still down in the dumps. But it's a brilliant, brilliant statistic for people who say that's the success for Corbyn at the heart of this election, that such a huge proportion of the electorate chose Labour this time. And you have to go way, way back among losing Labour leaders to find anything like it. In fact, he even beat Tony Blair in one of his winning elections.
Fascinating, Jeremy. Thank you very much. Jeremy Vine there, taking us back through the performances of the past and just underlining what's been achieved this time as far as the Corbyn campaign is concerned.